Hello everyone, welcome to the Mr. Flashy channel. Today we'll be exploring how bees produce honey, how they reproduce, and their management system. Without further ado, let's get started. Did you know? Every drop of honey you drink each morning is the result of thousands of flights, millions of landings on flowers, and a miniature society operating with pinpoint precision. And today, let's step into the world of honeybees and the people who have dedicated their lives to nurturing them. A bee farm is usually located near areas with year-round flowering plants, coffee plantations, melaleuca forests, rapeseed fields, or orchards. Beekeepers move their bee colonies according to the flowering seasons, a practice called bee nomadism, to ensure the colonies always have an abundant supply of pollen and honey. Something like this. Each beehive is an artificial structure containing wooden frames for bees to build their nests and housing larvae, pollen, and honey. Beekeepers must conduct regular checks to ensure the colony is healthy, free from disease, and has enough queen bees. To produce the delicious, sweet honey, bees have to work very hard through many stages over a very long period of time. And the first step in those stages is collecting pollen from beautiful flowers. When worker bees land on a flower, the hairs on their bodies generate a slight electrostatic charge, causing pollen to stick to them. Using their front legs, the bees brush the pollen together, then use their middle and hind legs to compress it into small pellets, attaching them to the pollen basket on their hind legs. A bee can carry an amount of pollen equal to almost half its body weight. Pollen is the protein source that feeds the larvae in the hive. You can also look at this image for a better understanding. After the bee has completed the first step of collecting pollen and bringing it back to the hive, worker bees use their long proboscises to suck nectar into a special sac called the nectar stomach, separate from their digestive stomach. Inside this sac, enzymes begin to break down the complex sugars in the nectar into simpler sugars. Upon returning to the hive, the bees release the nectar and pass it back and forth among many worker bees, each pass further thickening the honey. Finally, the honey is placed in hexagonal cells, and hundreds of bees continuously flap their wings to evaporate the water, transforming the thin nectar into thick, viscous honey. When the honey reaches the desired consistency, the bees seal the cell openings with a thin layer of wax for preservation. Like some other species or human factory systems, bees are also divided into different classes. A bee colony operates like a well-organized machine. Scout bees fly out to find new flower sources, then return to perform their belly-shaking dance to indicate direction and distance for the entire colony. Younger worker bees typically perform tasks within the hive, caring for larvae, building the nest, and fanning. Older worker bees take on the role of flying out to collect pollen and nectar. Thanks to this assignment system, a healthy bee colony can visit tens of thousands of flowers in just one day. Just like human armies or some other animal groups, bee colonies also have a leader who holds the most power, the queen bee. Each colony has only one queen bee, whose job is to lay eggs, up to thousands of eggs a day. The hatched larvae are fed royal jelly by worker bees for the first few days, then switch to a mixture of pollen and nectar. And of course, with the queen bee's incredibly rapid reproduction rate, over time, the bee colony may face the problem of overpopulation, where the hive can no longer provide enough living space or food, and colony splitting will have to occur. When a bee colony becomes too large, a new queen bee will be raised, and the old colony may split into a new one, a phenomenon known as natural swarming. This is also when beekeepers intervene, separating the colony into new hives to expand the hive. After weeks of hard work, the final result appeared: golden honeycomb frames, densely packed with pure honey. The beekeeper gently cut the wax seal, then placed the frames into a centrifuge to separate the honey from the comb without damaging the structure of the honeycomb. A bee farm is usually located near areas with year-round flowering plants, coffee plantations, melaleuca forests, rapeseed fields, or orchards. Beekeeping is not just a profession, but a collaboration between humans and nature. And every time you taste a spoonful of honey, remember that it's the story of millions of tiny flights, creating something incredibly sweet. And that concludes today's episode. Thank you for watching and listening. Have a great day. Remember to subscribe and like so you don't miss the latest episode. Goodbye, and see you again.